So we're going to stick with Napoli. They were also at their best for half an hour at least in Serie A when they beat Milan 2-1 at the weekend. I think it's fair to say they were excellent for the first half hour and probably should have been out of sight. They are starting to prove me wrong, and I think they're really starting to reinforce what you have always said, Nick, to be fair. Do you think that a Scudetto challenge is possible, or is that still a little bit too much for them?
Yeah, I really wish I could say it is possible, but I'm still just seeing Juventus just too much ahead this season. I think I might have mentioned it in another week, but I do think they're building a team that can possibly challenge for next season, though, adding a bit of depth to their squad. So not quite yet, but as you said, that I did think coming into the game actually that I think I'd even put a couple tweets out about Milan's defence and the goals that Napoli had scored in their last 6 or 7 matches, and I just thought Napoli could really put them to the sword. And I was actually watching with a friend of mine that is a Napoli supporter. So, the first 10, 20 minutes, we were very much, I must say I was enjoying it. Not only because I'm an Inter fan, but I mean, just watching Napoli when they're playing like that is incredible. I love it. It's not even when they're scoring the goals, but just the way they tap it around in the midfield with Hamsik up to Insigne. And it's beautiful to watch. It is, just for the football. So, and it did look like it was going to get very embarrassing for Milan. So it was an odd game because just with the click of a finger, it just kind of turned on its head. And it's hard to see how or why it happened, but yeah, it was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, sticking with Napoli just for an extra few minutes, when they play like that, I don't think there's anybody in Serie A who are more enjoyable to watch, is there? Roma can play some good stuff at times and they're great going forward when everyone's in full flow, but there's just something about Napoli, especially, I know they didn't this weekend, but especially when they play at the San Paolo and the crowd get behind them, there's something a bit special about watching them play.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the kind of football you think, geez, if they were showing up every week and putting on, maybe not 90 minutes, but even 60, 70 minutes of that, then you talk about the Serie A then. Well, the Scudetto challenge is very much possible because that's just, some of it's just impossible to defend even. You look at it and you're like, you know what, fair play. You'd take a goal against you because it's just beautiful to watch and undefendable sometimes. So I think that's what they're building towards, and I think we keep seeing those glimpses, which I think get us a bit excited, but I think we need to just be patient with that one.
Yeah, I think so. We've learned before not to get on board with the Napoli hype too soon, exactly. But with Lorenzo Insigne as kind of someone who epitomizes that himself, when he puts in performances like he did this week, it makes his disappointing games all the more frustrating because you see what he's capable of, but then I think he just doesn't show up a bit too often, and I'm hoping that if Napoli continue to build for next season, he can start to find some consistency and even carry that over to the Italy side as well. But I thought something that was strange about this game, and there was a statistic that stood out to me, was that this was actually the lowest share of possession that Napoli have had all season. It was just over 40%. And as good as they were for the first half hour, they had to win ugly in the end. And Maurizio Sarri came out and he was kind of taking the positives from this by saying, we showed we knew how to win while suffering. It's the first time that's happened since I've been here, so I'm happy. And I suppose that is another way to look at it, because so often when they're not quite at the races, the result doesn't go their way, and this time it did. They were great for half an hour, but then, as you say, it's hard to really pinpoint why, but they just kind of lost it a little bit, but they still managed to hold out to win, which makes them serious contenders for a top 3 place, as, to be fair, you have said all along.
Yeah, 100%. It's, as you said, it's very odd to see them kind of not dominated, but I mean, getting seeing their opposition getting the majority of possession like that. You mentioned it was their lowest possession of the season, and the only other actual game that they were under 50% was against Juventus, and that was, I think, 48%. So this was very much down on any kind of game that they would usually play week in, week out. And not only that, it was actually their lowest pass success rate in Serie A this season as well. So clearly they were, as Sarri said, they were off their game. They were suffering, and they did hang on. So I think, yeah, definitely there's always positives to take from a win like that. I think it's easy to take positives when you're winning 4-5-0, but it's the victories that where you're battling every minute until the last whistle blows. They're the ones that really kind of, I guess, you learn from more than anything.